Good morning, children. Today we are continuing the geography lesson, resources and development. Right? In the last class, we learned about the resource planning in India, and the ownership, abiotic resources, basis of origin, renewable and non-renewable resources. Right? I think you can remember all these things. Today we are going to learn about the conservation of resources. Resources are vital for any development activity, but irrational consumption and overutilization of resources may lead socio-economic and environmental problems. To overcome these problems, resources conservation at various levels is important. This had been the main concern of the leaders and thinkers in the past. For example, Gandhiji was very apt in voicing his concern about resource conservation in these words: "There is enough for everybody's need and not for anybody's greed." He placed the greedy and selfish individuals and exploitative nature of modern technology as the root cause for resource depletion at the global level. He was against the mass production and wanted to replace the production by masses. So what they explained here in this paragraph is the resources is played a vital role in the development of any activity. No doubt about that. But we should use that resources, we should utilize that resources in a proper way. If we are over-utilization the resources, this lead to the socio-economic and environmental problems. We know that cutting of trees, what we are suffering now, right? So these are all the problems what we are facing if we are not using the resources in a limited way. So that is the reason in the thinkers and the leaders, they think about they are concerned about the environment. That is the reason they are giving the example of Gandhiji's quote about there is enough for everybody's need and not for anybody's greedy. That he placed greedy is the selfish individuals and exploitative nature for modern technology as the root cause for resource depletion at the global level. What we are using the modern technology, this is the main depletion of the global level. He was against to the mass production and wanted to replace it with the production by the masses. Land resources. We live on land, we perform our economic activities on land, and we use it in different ways. Thus, land is a natural resource at most importance. It supports natural vegetation, wildlife, human life, economic activities, transport and communication systems. However, land is an asset of a finite magnitude. Therefore, it is important to use the available land for various purposes with careful planning. India has land under variety of relief features, namely mountains, plateaus, plains and islands. About 43% of the land area is plain, which provides facilities for agriculture and industry. Mountains account of 30% of the total surface of the area of the country and ensure the perennial flow of some rivers, provide facilities for tourism and ecological aspects. About 27% of the area of the country is plateau region. It possesses rich reserves of minerals, fossil fuels and forests. So what they explain, land. First we will think about the land resource means it is very important, no doubt about that, right? We perform all our economic activity, land. Without land we can't do anything, right? So land we use in a different ways. Land is a natural resource at most important, no doubt about that. But the land is support us more in natural vegetation, wildlife, forest, human life, economic activities, transportation, communication system. Everything is the asset of it. These are all things with the asset of the land. So, therefore, it is very important to use available land for various purpose with careful planning. When these availabilities, these natural resources, land is a natural resource for us. We should utilize in a proper way. India has varieties of land that we know: plateaus, plains, hills, mountains. These are all the varieties of lands we have, right? Islands, everything. But about 43% of the land area is plain. So what we should do? We can provide facilities about the agriculture and industry. So mountain account of 30% of the total surface of the area in our country. 30% is mountain area, 43% is a plain area. Understood? Another 27% is the area of plateau region. Understood? The plateau region, what we will get? This possesses the rich reserves of minerals, fossil fuels and forest. So these are all the resources what we are getting, we should utilize in a proper way. See how to use the land. What is the utilization of the land? The land resources are used for the following purpose. Forest, land not available for cultivation, that is barren and wasteland. Land put non-agricultural uses, example building roads and factories. Understood? Land not useful, available for cultivation. All the land, 43% of land we cannot use for agriculture land, right? Some of the land are barren lands. That is not, though that land is not suitable for growing any of the crops. That is, it is also considered as a wasteland also. But what we can do in that? In non-agricultural uses, that is constructing the buildings there and the roads, factories, all we can do in this non-agricultural land. Next is the other cultivated land, excluding fallow land, that is permanent pastures and grazing land, land under miscellaneous tree crops grows, not included a net zone area, cultivable wasteland, that is left cultivated for more than 5 agricultural years. That means permanent pastures and grazing land. Some of the lands are allotted only for the grazing purpose. Understood? That land is allotted only for the grazing. Land under the miscellaneous tree crops grows, not included the net zone areas. That is what they are growing in the crops, that is not related to that. Other than that, they can use for the that purpose. And cultivable waste and left uncultivated for more than 5 agricultural years. The wasteland they are using uncultivated for more than 5 agriculture years. Understood? These they can follow with this. And next is fallow lands. Current fallow left without cultivation for 1 or less than 1 agriculture year. That is called as fallow lands. So other than current fallow, they left uncultivated for the past 1 to 5 years agriculture years. That means they cannot grow anything in they didn't grow any crop in that year for 1 year or more than 1 year. That is also the fallow lands. Net zone area, the area sown more than once in an agriculture year plus net zone area is known as gross cropped areas. The area sown more than once in an agricultural year plus net sown area is known as gross cropped area. These are all the areas, how they divided, they are showing in this picture. Observe this picture, you will come to know that. Understood? They are showing here 43% is the plains and 30% is mountains and plateaus and 23% is the land which is that minerals and what their region, plateau regions. So land utilization we can use like this only. That is forest is the first one, and land available for culture. Barren land we are using for the non-agricultural activities, and other cultivated activities, permanent pastures as grazing land will be there. That miscellaneous uses also we are using for the land, and culturable waste, and that is uncultivated for more than 5 years agriculture land, and that is less than 1 year agriculture. These are all the land as divided into utilization. So land use pattern in India. How we are using our land in India. The use of land is determined both physical factors such as topography, climate, soil type, as well as human factors such as population, density, technological capability and culture and tradition, etc. The land use patterns in India. See, the land use determined both the physical factors and the such as topography, climate, soil types. So which soil is suitable to grow particular crop, that crop only they will grow in that particular area. It depends upon the soil. What type of soil is there, according to that they will decide which crop is good for this soil, and then they start growing that crop. Understood? That is the pattern in our country. See here they have given one table here, general land use categories. Understood? If you see that one, you will come to know how many forest area is there, cultivable waste, everything they have given here. Please you draw this picture in your classwork when you are writing the classwork. I will say, when I am sending the classwork, I will give you this activity to do in your classwork. Is it clear? Total geographical area in India is 3.28 million square kilometers. Land use data, however, is available only 93% of the total geographical area because the land use reporting for most of the northeast states except Assam has not been done fully. Moreover, some areas of Jammu and Kashmir occupied by Pakistan and China have also not been surveyed. That means the total geographical area in our country is 3.28 square kilometers. Shall I repeat once again? The total geographical area in India is 3.28 square kilometers, million square kilometers. See, land use data, however, is available only for 93% it is available. How much land is using, no? The data is with us. That is only 93% we are getting it out of 3.28. So the total geographical area, because the land using reporting most of the northeast areas, states, except Assam has not done fully. They are not utilizing the land in a proper way. Moreover, some areas of Jammu, Kashmir, these areas it is, and we know that it is in dispute now. That areas also we are not having the good survey about that. The land under permanent pasture has also decreased. How are we able to feed our huge cattle population on this pasture land, and what are the consequences of it? Most of the other than the current fallow lands are either the poor quality or the cost of cultivation of such land is very high. Hence, these lands are cultivated once or twice in about 2 or 3 years, and if these are included in the net sown area, then the percentage of NSA, net sown area, in India comes about 54% of the total reporting area. That means land permanent pasture has also decreased. How we are able to feed the cattle population and the pasture, and what are the consequences of it? Most of the other than current fallow lands are either poor quality or cost of cultivation is very high, because the land is not suitable for cultivating, so they should make the land to be cultivated that costs more than normal one. Hence, these lands are cultivated once or twice in about 2-3 years. Usually, the land, if it is a very irrigated land is there, every year we are growing the crops in that. But these type of land, we can cultivate it once or twice in about 2 to 3 years. And if these are included in the net sown area, the percentage of NSA means net sown area, India comes about 54% of the total reporting area. See, out of 93%, 54% is NSA only. That is net sown areas. Understood? So, the pattern of net sown area varies greatly from one state to another. It is over 80% of the total area in Punjab and Haryana, and less than 10% in Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram, Manipur and Andaman Nicobar Islands. That means this pattern of net sown areas varies from greatly from one state to another. Over 80% of the total area in Punjab and Haryana, and less than 10% in Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram, Manipur and Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So these pattern of net sown area is in this Haryana, Punjab, Mizoram and Manipur, Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Forests are in the country is far lower than the desired 33% of geographical area, as it was outlined the National Forest Policy. It was considered essential for maintenance of the ecological balance. The livelihood of millions of people who live in fringes of these forests depends upon it. A part of the land is termed as wasteland and put to another non-agricultural uses. That means the forest area in the country is far lower than the desired 33% of geological area as it was outlined by the National Forest Policy. That is 33% of the geographical area is covered with the forest. It is considered essential for maintenance the ecological balance. Understood? Why the forests are necessary? To balance the ecological, the livelihood of millions of people who live in the fringes of these forests, fringes of these forests depend on it. The people, those who lived in the forest, they are completely dependent on that. So, these things also is one of the major factors of this land areas. The part of the land is turned as wasteland and land put to another non-agricultural uses. Some of the lands are wasteland that is used for the I already explained you in the second paragraph, that is for non-agricultural activities. Understood? Waste and land includes rocky, arid and desert areas, and put to other non-agricultural uses include settlements, roads, railways, industries, etc. Continuous uses of land over a long period of time without taking appropriate measures to conserve and manage it has resulted the land degradation. This is in turn has serious on society and the environment. That means some part of the land includes rocky, arid and desert areas, and land put to other non-agricultural uses include the settlements, roads. See, when the non-agricultural lands are there, that they are using for making roads. Understood? And making railway lanes and industrial purpose, that I already told you. They are using for all this purpose. Continuous use of land over a long period of time without taking the appropriate measures to conserve and manage it has resulted the land degradation. Understood? Continuous process, if you are using the your continuous use of land over a long period of time without taking the appropriate measures. So this leads to the degradation of land. So in turn has serious, and this is the very serious matter on society, and this is very serious about on society and to the environment. Problems for the land degradation and conservative methods, conservative measures. 90% of the land needs for food, shelter, clothing and obtained from land. That is, we have shared our land with the past generation and will have to do so with the future generations too. 95% of our basic needs for food, shelter and clothing are obtained from land. Human activities have not only brought about degradation of land but also aggravated the pace of natural forces to cause damage to land. That is, pasture suitable for grazing. Understood? Aggravated means suitable for grazing. That means we have shared the land in our past and will have to do so with the future generations too. That is, we have to protect our land for our future generation. So 95% of our basic land is need for our basic needs, that is food, shelter, clothing are obtained. Those things are obtained from the land only. Right? Human activities have not only brought the degradation of land but also has aggravated that I told you that is suitable for grazing. A pace of natural forces cause damage to land. Some human activities such as deforestation, overgrazing, mining, quarrying too have contributed significantly the land degradation. How the land became the degradation, that they are explaining in these paragraphs. Is it clear? See, first what they 95% of land we are using for our food, for our shelter, for our clothing, for everything we are getting from the land only. For that we are using for 95% of the land we are using for that. But in that also we are not taking care of the land. We are not thinking about what will happen if we are overusing those things. So this is the one type of degradation. And next we have the human activities such as deforestation, overgrazing, mining, quarrying. These things also the major causes for the land degradation. Understood? This is also the quarrying and the overgrazing, mining, deforestation, cutting down the trees. These are all the human activities is also affected for the land degradation. Mining sites are abandoned after excavation work is completely, leaving deep scars and traces of overburdening. In states like Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and Odisha, deforestation due to mining have caused severe land degradation. In states like Gujarat, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra, overgrazing is one of the main reasons for land degradation. See, they are explaining about the state-wise how the states are suffering from this land degradation. See, the complete leaving deep scars and traces of overburdening. That is, the mining sites are abandoned after excavation work is completed, leaving deep scars and traces overburdening. In Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh and Odisha, due to the deforestation, the land degradation. And in Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Gujarat is overgrazing. And next, Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh, over irrigation is responsible for land degradation. See, one side it is overgrazing, in another states it is over mining, and another state it is over irrigation. These are all the causes for the degradation. Due to water logging leading to increase in salinity and alkalinity in the soil. The mineral processing, the grinding of limestone for cement industry and calcite and soapstone for ceramic industry generate huge quantity of dust in the atmosphere. It retards the process of infiltration of water into the soil after it settles down on the land. In recent years, industries effluents as waste have become a major source of land and water pollution in many parts of our country. As we know that the mineral processing like grinding limestone, cement industries and calcite and soapstone and ceramic, these are all the industries. They release the dust in the atmosphere. That is also a major degradation. It affects to the land degradation as well as to the it causes it dust in the atmosphere. The process of infiltration of water into the soil. After it settles down on the land, the recent years industrial influence waste become the major source of land and water pollution. We know that many factory water they leave the water into the rivers, right? Factory water leave into the rivers. That is the major cause for the water pollution. And the factories smoke is air pollution. So there are many ways to solve the problems of land degradation. See, what we have done, everything is because all these things make the land degradation. But some of the problems are there that for some problems we can solve through many ways. That is afforestation and proper management of grazing and planting shelters and belts of plants, control on overgrazing and stabilization of sand dunes by growing thorny bushes are some of the methods check the degradation arid areas. That means afforestation, growing more trees and proper management of grazing and avoid this mining or quarrying. If we take care of all these things, all these activities, definitely some of the steps we can take to avoid the land degradation. And proper discharge of disposal of industrial influence to the waste of after treatment can be reduced land and water degradation in industrial and suburban areas. So we are leaving the water, drainage water leaving to the rivers and factory wastes are leaving to the rivers. These things will make the water pollution. Even the factory smoke is air pollution. These things can be avoided. We can think the way how to avoid all those things. We can solve these problems. Understood? There are many ways to solve, but we should to solve the problems of the land degradation. Next, we move on to the soil as a source. Soil is the most important renewable natural resource. No doubt about that, right? But it is the medium plant growth and supports different types of living organisms on the earth. The soil is a living system. It takes millions of years to form soil up to a few centimeters in depth. Relief, parent rock or bedrock, climate, vegetation and other forms of life and time are important factors in the formation of soil. Various forces of nature such as change in temperature, actions of running water, wind and glaciers, activities of atmosphere, etc. contribute to the formation of soil. Chemical and organic changes which take place in the soil are equally important. Soil also consists of organic and inorganic materials. On the basis of the factors responsible for soil formation, color, thickness, texture, age, chemical and physical properties, the soils of India are classified into different types. That means soil is the most important renewable natural resources. It is the medium plant growth and supports the different types of living organism on the earth. Soil is supporting our life, supporting our all living organism. There is no doubt about that, isn't it? But it is a renewable natural resource. But it takes millions of years to form soil up to a few centimeters in depth. Understood? Up to a few centimeters in depth. That is, it also relief, parent rock and bedrock, climate, vegetation, all these are help them to form of life and time are important factors to formation of soil. The various forces of nature such as changing temperature, actions of running water, glaciers, activities of decomposers, etc. contribute the formation of the soil. Chemical and organic changes which take place in the soil. Okay. So the soil is divided into, that classified into different types. Okay. Now we are move on to the classification of soils. India has varied relief features, landforms, climatic realms and vegetation types. These have contributed in the development of various types of soil. First is alluvial soil. Alluvial soil, black soil, red soil, right? And then the laterite soil, arid soil, forest soils. These are all the types of soils. First we move on to the alluvial soil. This is the most widely spread important soil. In fact, the entire northern plains are made of alluvial soil. These have been deposited by three important Himalayan rivers, Indus, Ganga and the Brahmaputra. These soils also extended in Rajasthan and Gujarat through a narrow corridor. Alluvial soil is also found in eastern coastal plains, particularly in the deltas of the Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna and Kaveri rivers. The alluvial soil consists of various proportions of sand, silt and clay. As we move inland towards the river valleys, soil particles appear somewhat bigger in size. In the upper reaches of the river valley, that is near the place of the break of slope, the soil are coarse. Such soils are more common in piedmont plains such as Dors, Kos and Terai. Apart from the size of their grains of components, soils are also described on the basis of their age. According to their age, alluvial soil can be classified as old alluvial and new alluvial. The Bangar soil has a higher concentration of canker nodules than the Khadar. It has more fine particles and is more fertile than Bangar. That is, the alluvial soil, it is mostly widespread in the northern plains. That is, these have been deposited in the three important, that is, Himalayan rivers, that is, Indus, Ganga and Brahmaputra. It is extended through, again, Rajasthan and Gujarat. And alluvial soil also found in the eastern coastal plains, particularly deltas of Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna and Kaveri. The alluvial soil consists various properties of sand, and soil particles appear in the bigger in size. Apart from the size of their grains, the component soils are described as the basis of their age. According to their age, alluvial soils are classified into two, that is, old alluvial and new alluvial. The Bangar has higher concentration of canker nodules than the Khadar. It has more fine particles and it's more fertile than the Bangar. That is the reason they are divided alluvial into two, that is old and new. So alluvial soils as a whole is a very fertile. Most of these soils contain adequate proportion of potash. The more proportion of potash, phosphoric acid and lime, which is the ideal for the growth of sugarcane, paddy and wheat, the other cereals and pulses crop. The alluvial soil is suitable for growing sugarcane, paddy, wheat, cereals and pulses crop. Due to its high fertility, regions of alluvial soils are intensively cultivated, densely populated. Automatically, where the agricultural land is there, people are living more and they are doing the agricultural activities in their areas. The soils in the drier areas are more alkaline and can be productive after proper treatment and irrigation. Next is black soil. These soil are black in color and are also known as rigor soils. Black soil is an ideal growing cotton and known as black cotton soil. It is believed that climatic condition along with the parent rock material are the important factors of the formation of black soil. This type of soil in the Deccan Trap region spread over North Deccan Plateau and up of the lava flows. The cover of plateaus of Maharashtra, Saurashtra, Malwa, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh extended to the southeast direction, that is Godavari, along with the Godavari Krishna valleys. So this black soil is black in color. It is suitable for growing cotton crops. Understood? Cotton crops. We can found this soil in Deccan Trap region spread over to the northwest Deccan Plateau and is made up of lava flows. This cover plateau is even in cover plateaus of Maharashtra, Saurashtra, Malwa, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh and extends in the south direction along with the Godavari Krishna valleys. In these places we can see the black soil. The black soils are made up of extremely fine, that is clayey material. They are well known for their capacity to hold moisture. In addition, they are rich in soil nutrients such as calcium carbonate, magnesium, potash and lime. These soils are generally poor in phosphoric contents. They develop deep cracks during the hot weather and which help in proper aeration of the soil. These soils are sticky and wet and difficult to work on unless tilled immediately after the first shower or during pre-monsoon period. See, black soil is extremely fine, that is clay material. and they are well known for their capacity to hold the moisture. It is rich in soil nutrients such as calcium carbonate, magnesium, potassium, and lime, and generally phosphoric contents. They develop deep cracks during hot weather. It helps to proper aeration of the soil, and the soil very sticky and wet and difficult to work on the unless tilted immediately after the first shower or during the pre-monsoon period.